What is good, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. And today I got a clip of Clipse where they sit down for this interview. Now, the interview was probably 2 hours, but we ain't going to be doing 2 hours. We're going a short snippet, couple clips we're going to look at, and we're going to talk about it because after this Drake-Kendrick Lamar battle went down, there's been a lot of dominoes falling, some in the wrong direction, some in the right direction. Reactors are getting hit with copyright strikes and different things like that now. And certain people are getting dropped from the labels because the label don't want to be liable for any possible incitement of a lawsuit down the road. And we know where all this is coming from. We know Karen is in effect, and Karen is swinging and winning. Might not be on the rap game on the streets, but in courts, the Karen is winning.
And that record, Chains and Whips, specifically been done for, or not done, but has been in the hopper for a long time.
Yeah.
In 2023, when I was with you in Paris with Pharrell, that was something that I remember P played me. It was like, this is, you know, that was maybe the first time I even knew that there was going to be an actual Clipse reunion, as opposed to a rumored Clipse reunion, you know.
And debuts then at his opening Louis Vuitton show.
Yeah, that's right. Uncle said,
nigga, you must be sick. Even this right here, I may edit some of this music out because eventually they come to catch a claim. So this part might just get edited out.
Talk about is just get rich, choke my neck, nigga, and ice my bitch. Beat the system with chains.
Years ago at this point,
right?
So
pre-Kendrick though.
There was no Kendrick verse in the runway show. It's been 2 years since.
It's crazy. Once you mention Kendrick and his name comes into the fold, it changes everything. It changes everything.
Then there's been some conversation already about this song being a holdup for the release of this album.
For sure.
Talk to me about what a lyrics committee does at a major label as far as your understanding. And you.
So this is what I need y'all to pay attention to, because this is where the colonizer stuff comes in, y'all. This is the stuff you need to pay attention to. And the fact that this is the type of person that never really talks a lot. He's never on like social media broadcasting what's going on. The industry knows how to keep certain people down. But this is what I want y'all to pay attention to, because in Kendrick's verse, he talked about like that he was trying to get it taken down. And this is where you're going to find out how a lot of this stuff was happening. And once you understand this, you would kind of understand why Drake was upset at UMG for not stopping what they stopped, because he's been successfully doing it.
Your experience.
Yo,
what is a lyrics committee for our listeners?
Listen, and this is what this is how I understood it initially. The lyrics committee, from what I understand, was supposed to, take your music, make sure there aren't any interpolations,
secret samples.
It's a copyright check.
Basically, that's what it's supposed to be. Since 2018, it was for me at Def Jam a way to censor my music, or a way to make sure I wasn't having any subliminal disses or anything in anything that I did.
Yeah,
that's how it was used for me.
And you're.
So y'all hear that? I'm not sure y'all understand what he's talking about. If y'all didn't understand what he's talking about, basically he's saying they listen to the music. If it's something where it's against Drake, they will either shelve it or he has to remove the song. And these are things they've been doing, and what they've been doing to help Drake out for the last since the Drake beat was at 2018.
Your first experience with that was in the middle of your back and forth with Drake with Story of Adidon.
A baby's involved, it's deeper than rap. We talking character, let me keep with the facts. You are hiding a child, let that boy come home. Deadbeat motherfucker.
How did that conversation go, and then how does that lead into what happened with Chains and Whips?
After Adidon or whatever, there were quite a few records that were stopped, yo, we're not doing this, or was, just basically shelved. And it
Your
was
verses,
my
verses
verses.
on the Pop Smoke album.
Pop Smoke. But the telling part was when they would get the lyrics wrong.
Oh, sure.
So it one day I forget what song this was, but there was a Pop Smoke song that definitely was that had bars in it.
Mm-hmm. By you.
Yes, but then there was another that didn't, and they thought it did. And I was like, wait a minute, what is going on here? Mm-hmm. Because you're interpreting something totally wrong.
Like two different songs.
Right.
Both with lyrics by you, one with a message and the other without a message.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And that's when I knew, like, wait a minute. I was like, Steven, is this shit are you serious right now?
Mm-hmm. To your manager.
Right. Yeah. I'm sorry.
We know.
Yeah. So I'm like, wait.
So y'all hear that, right? So basically what's been happening all these years is Drake's been censoring people's music, and we've heard about it before, but it's never been people that had reasons for you to really believe him that much, because you suspect you, but now you kind of understand. Because let's be honest, when the thing happened with Drake and Pusha T, the only reason Drake was able to survive that because he was the bigger artist, he was dominant. So we can all attest to that. After that whole beef ended, everything Pusha T had put down against Drake was erased from the internet. It was removed. And that was his doing through UMG and all these other companies that's a little bigger than Pusha T. And now we're really finding out how much censorship he was kept down from putting things out. And it makes sense. We all knew it was happening. It's not the first time that we've all suspected that. It's just now that he's actually talking about it, and the whole beef with Kendrick and Drake is what led to all this and how things are turning out. But this is the same guy that a lot of, I would say, y'all call y'all GOAT. This is colonizer stuff. This isn't regular day-to-day activity in hip hop in the hood. No, nobody will do this in the hood. You don't start no fight. He like when you look back at it now, it's like Drake only started that fight is because he thought UMG was going to be able to censor Kendrick and not put the song out at all. That's what his thinking was. The song was never ever going to come out. Not like us. If Pusha T had wrote Not Like Us, it would have never saw the day of light. Never. Because just like what Pusha says right there, you think they're giving them the song to see if the copyrights are okay and everything like that. But no, they're still, we just heard the song, bro, and you might want to come over here, and nope, we're going to shelve that. And all to protect his image, if you really think about it. And that's why Drake has been able to get away with a lot of these things, because the record label was the one helping him out.
This is a thing at this point.
In your mind, they were being overly sensitive about you rapping about another artist signed to that label. Drake, a huge artist under the Universal banner. And they were sort of playing referee. He was getting Shea Gilgeous-Alexander calls, is what you're saying.
For sure. For sure.
And at that point, you said, all right, I'll keep it moving. You put out Story of Adidon on SoundCloud instead of commercially. The Pop Smoke
that happened.
Removed.
The verses get removed. A couple verses get removed. I move on.
Right.
I just move on musically.
Right.
So
then fast forward to 2024.
Fast forward, yeah.
Drake and Kendrick do their thing.
Boom.
Drake files a lawsuit.
Boom.
You play them your new song with a Kendrick verse on it.
Boom.
How do they react?
Now, mind you, the energy up to that point is everybody's clamoring, new album's coming, so on and so forth. Excitement. Everybody's ready. Listen, we 10 songs, 11 songs, 12 songs away. I mean, close. We show up with the Kendrick verse, and everything's halted. It's halted. It's said that it will not be put out. They just didn't want to put it out. They would not speak via email.
They would not anything in writing.
Yeah, the label would not send emails.
Nothing in writing.
They will not speak via through email. And what that basically says, they're not going to sit here and implicate themselves in any way. We don't want no paper trace, no paper trail. Unless y'all recorded this call, nobody don't know nothing. I don't know nothing, man. I don't know nothing. I don't know nothing. What you talking about? Nothing. What you talking about? Nothing. I ain't hear nothing. I ain't see nothing. I wasn't there. UMG is literally one of the smartest companies. You know, they didn't become who they are by playing child's play games. They know what the deal is, and they know how to stay on top, and they know how not to incriminate themselves. They're like, yo, I ain't sending you no paper, boy. You better remember it, because you know what? The great rappers don't write. Keep it in here. And that's how UMG's like. I don't need to write it down. I got it all upstairs. So when the court dates and the court stuff pops up, there's no files. There's no records of it. That's smart. That's very smart.
Nothing in writing to my management. They would call my management, 10 times in a row, trying to get all of this, trying to, just plead their case. Mm-hmm. Now, there was nothing even to be, they didn't like the optic, in my opinion, mm-hmm. They didn't like the optics
of two Drake foes teaming up.
Right.
Yeah. Did there a line they pinpoint?
And that's something we all speculated. Now, I don't see, and that's one thing I'm looking at now, because if Drake got together and did a song with Clipse, it would piss them even more. Could y'all imagine that? Could y'all imagine Kendrick and them doing a whole album together, merge them with Black Hippie or something like that? It would be, wow. I'm just dreaming, but hey, I'm a fan. But the fact that UMG is trying to make sure Kendrick and Pusha don't put any music out together, it makes me wonder, because why does the music have to be about Drake? Why they don't really care about Drake? They're just making music. Why is that such a big deal? Now, it's one thing if it's a Drake heavy diss, like Not Like Us or Meet the Grams or something, but we all heard that first half of that verse. Now, the verse did have some shots in there, but they were low-key subliminals. They weren't like direct, hey, say this, say that. No, these was all stuff on the back end where we could all sit here and say, yo, this wasn't directed towards him. He might have been speaking to him in past tense. But what are we talking about? The fact that you guys try to protect him so much, and you wonder why he's been around so long, and people keep saying, oh, everybody's against Drake. Everybody's against Drake. No, Drake's been colonizing this shit for a long time. That's why they all want to get rid of him. That's what the fact is. They all want to get rid of his ass.
Pointed?
Censor? They pinpointed a line where the phrase Trump card was used. Mm-hmm. Right? So stupid. Mm-hmm. Like, it's like the phrase Trump card was used, and they said that they didn't want any problem with Trump or something like that as well.
Unrelated to
unrelated. Totally even unrelated. Yeah, totally unrelated.
Just a Trump.
Yeah.
A Trump. Yeah. So you felt like they were looking for something?
Of course. They were looking for
to halt the optics.
1,000%. That's my opinion. Mm-hmm. That's my opinion.
And how did you guys take that? They said either censor this verse, take him off, or what?
Well, we ignored it because it was so crazy to us. We're like, nah, this can't be real. This can't be real. So we ignored it. And then one day, I believe it was Steve Gawley made the call.
A lawyer
at UMG, and was like, hey, look, I'm not stupid, guys. You guys aren't stupid. You guys aren't, changing anything. We'll drop the clips. Pusha has to stay. And we'll just have to move on. But that doesn't work.
Sure.
Right? That doesn't work. Ultimately, we were like, yo, what's the way to do the business? Like, how can we, buy ourselves off of this label?
Right. And Steven Victor, your manager, gave an interview with Billboard. He said there was essentially a 7-figure payment to free you guys from your contract.
Yeah.
They're going to take a little bit of profit off of this new album.
Yep.
So here we are 20 years later, and you're still in the
label
thick of
drama.
It with label drama.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if y'all don't know, a lot of the reason why I know Malice has stopped rapping and all that stuff was because of label drama back in the day. But that's the thing, man. When you up there like that, you always, even Prince had label drama. Michael Jackson, they all go through it, you know. And if you don't stay on top of your game, UMG and all these other labels are gonna get what they can out of you. If you don't pay attention, they're gonna suck you dry like a goddamn grape, because a grape turns into a raisin after it's been sucked by the industry. But this stuff right here, we all knew it was going on. All of us knew it's been going on, and Kendrick basically exposed a lot of it in this rap beef with Drake, and how much he has to do with the colonization of where hip hop was headed. And that's why Kendrick say he made the party die. They're upset because he didn't want to participate in what they were doing. He talked about all of that. And I'm happy to see that Roc Nation stepped in to make sure this album came out, because I don't know if they didn't step in, I don't know if this album would ever came out. They'd probably have to try to release it independently. But I guess they couldn't put it out independently. Excuse me, because once they bought themselves out, I think they own the rights to it. But I think UMG gets a little cut or something like that. But overall, I think they own the rights to it now. It's their music type of thing. Let me know down in the comments how y'all feel about this whole colonizer Drake situation, because now we're finding out Drake was behind a lot of the shelves in music. He was behind and shutting down a lot of music that even Pusha was trying to put out. And he's done it to a lot of other artists. You know, I'm not going to go into that whole thing, but y'all need to let me know down in the comments how you feel about this. Peapod Cove. I'm going to see y'all on the next one, y'all. Y'all stay strong.